welcome back to the T-Bird podcast, coming at you live on April 3rd, 2025. This stream should be broadcasting both to YouTube and Twitter. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. This episode, I want to primarily focus on karmic debt, which is what I'll call this specific episode. So I would definitely want to touch on karma, both from a spiritual, what karma actually is from a spiritual standpoint, but also what it entails in the context of the matrix that we actually live in, the matrix reality, virtual reality, simulacra, simulated reality, whatever you want to call it. But before we get into some of the stuff, and also just to quickly go back on that, how karma ties in with numerology and astrology itself in the context of esoteric understanding of things, and occult knowledge. So before we start to delve into a little bit of that stuff, I want to quickly divert to crypto, and let's have a look and see what's happening in the Hex and PulseChain ecosystem. So let's quickly just go and see what Hex is doing. The Hex cryptocurrency, which is both on the Ethereum blockchain and the PulseChain blockchain as well. But let's get started and just have a quick look and go over what Hex is doing on PulseChain. So alongside all of Richard Hart's core tickers, being PLS, which is the native coin for PulseChain, PLSX, PulseX, which is the decentralized exchange coin on the primary decentralized exchange for PulseChain. They're all pretty much moving in synchronicity with each other. And the really interesting thing is, even though we've been seeing a lot of overselling with Hex alongside the other core tickers, Hex on PulseChain specifically has made a really nice local low, which is also slightly above the cycle low, which was made in early September of 2024. And it's starting to show some kind of confirmational uptrend, a reversal uptrend since, when was it? It was around March 31st, which is about 4 days ago, is when a local bottom was made. And if you look at the structural formation of what the price is doing since that point of since that nexus point was imprinted, there's some nice, like I said, conformational structure that's being formed there. On the more short-term zoomed-in chart, it's sort of the current price is 0.005 or just under 0.052, just a fraction over half a penny. It has, and interesting, it's sort of coalescing a little bit with the current local movement in Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin is also, let's have a look here. So Bitcoin is, I'm just bringing up the chart. Yeah, so Bitcoin is currently holding a level of about 83.5K, more or less. We've just seen if you look at the daily, it sort of made a local low roughly around the same time as when Hex made its local low, sort of around 80K, just 81K. And it was showing a solid bounce off 81, but it got a little bit of a smackdown to sort of retest the 81, 82K range. And now it's starting to show strength on that bounce. And Bitcoin also, just looking at its recent history, it has made a solid local low at around sort of 75, sort of 76K-ish, nearly a month ago. So overall, and Ethereum as well, Ethereum is starting to show some signs of forming some structure, some sideways structure at the sort of the 1800 level, and doesn't seem to want to go too much below 1800. So hopefully, if we can see some further uptrend and strength with both Bitcoin and Ethereum starting to head upwards now that we're in the new financial quarter, we're 100% in the new moon cycle now as well, which is excellent. So should translate to further upside strength in the majors, with the PulseChain ecosystem being liquidity tied to Ethereum itself as well. We should start to see some nice reversal upside on the way, hopefully. So now let's go back to bit of the numerology stuff. So one of the key I've noticed, it was about a day ago on the Watcher Guru breaking news Twitter account. It broke a headline reading that Tether has the US, I don't know if it's one of them or the major issuer, but it says USDT, which is the ticker for Tether, issuer buys specifically 8,888 Bitcoin worth 750 million. Now, in the context of the primary subject matter of what I want to talk about in this stream today, it's very noteworthy, and it's not an accident that Tether specifically purchased Bitcoin in the amount of 8,888. And what that basically entails is it's imprinting the intent, the energetic intent of the energy that's behind the number 8. And 8 is the number of money and power. So when you place a purchase or when you place a sale, specifically embodying the energy imprint of the number 8, it's basically signaling to the matrix that you want to attract money and power in the context of that action, the action that was taken. So 28, of course, being the number of wealth, but 8 is the number of money and power, and also the number of karma. So this is also this ties in exactly with why I want to talk about karma today. And it's because, especially in the context of this specific tweet, I'm showing that the crypto industry is starting to show evidence of them knowing exactly what they're doing, or at least to a minimal extent, how to utilize numerology and astrology to their advantage, and it's largely due to GG33 really starting to gain a huge amount of traction in the context of becoming making numerology and astrology so much more mainstream over the last couple of years. So a lot of the knowledge and understandings, the true knowledge and the accurate information pertaining to numerology and astrology is starting to become more publicized and become a lot more tuned in to how it works. So just before I quickly go on, just wanted to give a big shout out to people in the chat at the moment. I always love to see all the people coming in to show their support. Means a lot, especially in these crazy times, not just in the context of the macro side of things, macroeconomics and all that stuff, but just with everything in crypto being so brutalized price-wise across pretty much everything in crypto, even though we're sort of seeing a little bit of sort of confirmational support in the locally speaking, there's still a lot of in some ways unprecedented uncertainty around whether the crypto market is even topped already, with the new all-time high being printed in January of earlier this year. Even though we're seeing so much bullish sentiment, and it's like really is like a snowball that's happening with regard to everything that we're seeing with the SEC, the overhaul of the SEC, with Trump getting into office late January of this year. A lot of positivity is coming into crypto, enhancing the positive optics for crypto as a whole. Even with all that, we're still seeing like really brutal downside price action, which has been tough. But I'm still, as I've said in previous streams, I maintain very strong bullish sentiment moving forward as the 2025 year progresses, both in the context of the historical nature in how crypto cycles, the fractal nature and the patternistic nature of how crypto plays out in every 4 years. So definitely maintaining bullishness in that context, but also in the context of energetics as well. And I'm definitely going to be continuing playing my role in developing and building upon as much positive sentiment in the Hex and PulseChain ecosystem specifically, which also includes Hex on Ethereum as well, because I equally consider Hex on Ethereum just as much as a core coin for the PulseChain ecosystem, because it's still the OG. It's still the OG coin that began this whole journey for Hex, and PulseChain wouldn't have been built if Hex never existed, and if certain things didn't play out in the context of things that Vitalik and Ethereum did, that basically, in a lot of ways, would have forced Richard Hart's hand in building and creating PulseChain. So so let's have a look. So we've got Hexagon 5555, Infinite Abundance, 100% brother. Abundance mindset is absolutely key, and to be in a state of balanced gratitude through difficult times is absolutely key, and always key to zoom out when things on the surface in the short term and in the moment seem really tough, and a lot of us are still riding the wave, and yeah, it's not easy. So appreciate you coming in. I've been seeing you in the comments over the last couple of streams that I've done recently. So yeah, appreciate you for your support. Yo, I'm seeing Mayo up in the house. Good to see you, man. Great to see you coming in and supporting the stream. If anybody who's not familiar with Mayo, he's also an Aussie Hexagon like myself. He's been in the ecosystem for many years and has done a lot of great things for the ecosystem, supporting, and has been a pillar of support for the community for many years. So if you're not already following him, definitely want to be following him on Twitter, and hopefully we get to see his boy Jake Lund do some more Muay Thai boxing fights in the future, in the context of you know, the kind of sponsorships that's gone on, that's occurred in the past, with getting Jake Lund in connection with the Hex community and the PulseChain community. So definitely look forward to more developments with that as time goes on. We've got Salty C up in the house. Good to see you, brother. Definitely recognize you from in Twitter, X. Yeah, appreciate all your support on there. Hex Force One, always good to see you, man. I recognize you from Twitter as well. Who else we got in here? Not me. P-Dye is core and better tox. So yeah, I'm not going to be speaking about P-Dye. On my previous stream that I did in conversation with Toby One, Hexobi, who everyone who's listening in should be following. Absolutely awesome bloke. He is, yeah, he's definitely someone you want to be following on Twitter and on his on YouTube's as well. Always giving valuable insight with regard to technical analysis and all that stuff. So I spent a considerable amount of time speaking about P-Dye and my thoughts on it, especially in the context of where it's at where it's all at now, especially given the Twitter storm that Richard Hart put out, making it explicitly clear where he stands with P-Dye. So not going to get into that on this stream, but thanks for jumping in. Hex Mining Hodler, always appreciate you, man. I know you from Twitter. Always appreciated your support for a long time. Thank you for your kind words, especially today. Like bringing the knowledge. Today is a 7-3 day. 7 is the primary energy of this day, and 3 is the secondary. So today, from a numerological and energetic standpoint, 7 is the number of the teacher, and 3 is the number of communication and networking. So today is the perfect day from an energetic standpoint to communicate teachings and to communicate something important that you want to teach. So today, my specific, how shall I say, in that context of communicating something that I want to teach, karma is the one thing that I wanted to press upon the most for this stream. So that's going to be my focus. So on that note, where are we? So when it comes to karma, there's a lot of misunderstandings around people's interpretations and understandings of what karma is. My awareness and understandings of karma has actually morphed and evolved a lot throughout my life. And now, especially as I've gotten older and older, and now that I'm in my 40s, my perspectives on karma has changed. Not really changed a lot, but it's been tweaked to a certain extent, especially after coming into my understandings of things at a much deeper level in the context of numerology and astrology. Initially, my perspectives on karma was much more specifically at this through the spiritual lens of things, because karma to me has always been basically something that I spiritually align myself to. And one could argue that even just in the context of organized religion as a whole, but more specific when it comes to organized religion, more specifically Christianity, when it comes to the teachings of Christ himself, which was literally the core mantra of his teaching is do unto others as you would have do unto you, which is basically which is more commonly known as the golden rule. So, and it applies to life in general. So he himself, assuming he even existed, that teaching, and there would have been many other teachers across, all across history, would have been quoted to, at least to some extent, speak upon that golden rule, which directly ties in with karma itself. And essentially, for me, from the spiritual standpoint, karma for me is all about understanding that every single thing that you do or don't do is automatically going to have a karmic consequence, whether the karmic consequence is positive or negative. And there's also a general interpretation of karma. It tends to have an overarchingly negative connotation to it. But in fact, karma, to me, based on my more evolved understanding of it with regard to numerology and astrology, is if you're going to cause harm, unwarranted harm so you're causing harm onto someone that has never caused harm onto you, whether it's through the vehicle of speech or whether it's through the vehicle of an action or even an inaction. Like an inaction has karmic consequences equally as much as an action itself. It's going to have a ripple effect from a positive standpoint or a negative standpoint. So, and for someone like myself, which I've lightly touched upon in previous streams, is because I'm born on the 26th, which is an 8-day. And on top of that, 26 is the most karmic day of the 8s. So if you're born on the 8th or the 17th or the 26th, 1 + 7 is 8, 2 + 6 is 8. So all the 8s, all the 8 days, including the 8 universal days. So if your full birthday reduces / adds up to 8, that's also the 8 energy. So all the 8s have, they're all very karmic days, but the 26 specifically is the most karmic of all the 8s. So for me personally, when it comes to karma, not only have I always been very conscious with my actions and my intent when it comes to what I do and don't do, whether it's something relatively significant or even something major, I know that if I do something negative, it's going to have negative repercussions on me, but not even just when it comes to 8s, whether it's something positive or negative, the ripple effect will be felt in the current lifetime. So karma is basically the core aspect of karma is reincarnation. So there are old souls and young souls. So myself being an 8, having very strong 8 energy, that basically means that um, I will be impacted in this current reincarnation, in this current lifetime, by everything I do or don't do. So for like, versus other people who have an energy who don't have the energy imprint of the 8, they will not necessarily feel the impacts and experience and receive the negative or positive impacts of their actions and inactions in this current lifetime until they pass on in this incarnation and transition into the following incarnation, or even further incarnations into the future. So, and because we have basically a full wipe, a mind wipe of our, for the most part, of, with obviously with some exceptions, with near-death experiences or other sort of, rare kinds of dynamics and circumstances, for the vast majority of people who don't have that spiritual awareness or are tapped in, they're not going to know. They're not going to know what they've done in their past life. So you could be experiencing all kinds of negativity in your current lifetime, but it's not even necessarily because you've done anything negative karmically in this lifetime. It can largely be due to things that you've done negatively in previous lifetimes, which you'll have no recollection of whatsoever. So, so basically, so to sort of round out this subject of karma without being too long-winded, and generally just want to keep my streams relatively short. My primary message today, to really reinforce, is nobody escapes karma, and it doesn't matter how high your vibrational energy is in this matrix. If you inflict harm, the harm will be revisited back to you, whether in this lifetime or in future lifetimes. And essentially, in the context of numerology and astrology and this kind of knowledge, the primary goal would be to be able to transcend and ascend out of this matrix. So you don't have to go through, thousands of lifetimes, passing all the tests, to, over, and repeating the same mistakes or repeating the same patterns of behavior that keep you stuck in this matrix reality. So I think I'll sort of wind it up and wrap this up shortly. I'll just to finish it up and just wait a little bit longer for more people to jump into the comments. If people have any questions that they want to throw at me with regard to numerology, astrology, or crypto as well. Let's see. I just want to just quickly touch on a few of my latest tweets as well. So I want to give a bit of a shout out quickly to a couple of builders on PulseChain that I've only just discovered, surprisingly. I don't know how haven't come across these guys before, but there's PulseCoin, and their Twitter handle is @RealPulseCoin, and it looks like they're very close to being at the point where we're going to be PulseChain is going to have its a really cool block explorer, which is going to be a really cool new DeFi tool for us, which is great. And especially in the context of being totally shafted by Rabby Wallet, which is absolutely disgusting. And I won't get too far into that, but I've made my sentiment and my perspective on that very abundantly clear on my Twitter, on my X account. So especially in the context of being, just across the board, being treated so poorly by the crypto industry and unfairly, to have Rabby Wallet to just completely unintegrate PulseChain, which ties in with DBank as well, which long story short, Rabby is essentially the DeFi wallet that's directly connected to all the data that's disseminated through DBank, the DBank website, which allows for the proper monitoring and tracking of all crypto data that's necessary in DeFi. So they've basically just, for no reason whatsoever, have severed ties with PulseChain, which is very sad. But the silver lining is you've got guys like KG, who's been a formidable builder on PulseChain for basically, for years now, like even since before even PulseChain launched in 2023. And he's been making consistent, really cool and consistent upgrades on his wallet. And I really look forward to seeing more and more development and more upgrades coming for his wallet. Big shout out to KG for all that he's done and continues to do for the PulseChain ecosystem with his Internet Money wallet, which also by the way, got a shout out, I think, on the main PulseChain.com website as well, which I saw, which is cool. And also want to give a shout out to PLS Folio, which is a new portfolio tracker that I've just come across for PulseChain. I've dabbled with it a little bit so far, but I'll start getting a lot more active in checking it out shortly. Their Twitter account is @PLS Folio. Big shout out to those guys. And and just one last thing before I wrap up, in the context of numerology and astrology. I wanted to reinforce the point that PulseChain's chain ID is 369, which is not an accident. And the reason why I brought that up again and driven that point home is because 369 is a hidden 33. So basically what that means is 33 is the highest master number, and it's the highest vibration that you can attain in this matrix reality. And so 369 being a hidden 33, it's the way for Richard to stamp and imprint the 33 energy on PulseChain itself, thereby enhancing the influence of PulseChain overall. Same applies with the maximum 3.69% inflation rate, annual inflation rate for Hex itself as well. So he's actionably injected the 33 energy with the 3.69% inflation rate, annual inflation rate, and also with the PulseChain chain ID as well, which is brilliant. So on that note, I think I'll, unless there are any other questions or people jumping in. So as a reminder, as you can see over here, this is my only Twitter account. Really appreciate everyone's support over the journey and in Twitter land. So yeah, x.com/TheRealTBirdHex. It's my only account. Any other account is an imposter. Also, really appreciate any support, whether it's in the form of people jumping in on in the comments with the good vibes. Yeah, all forms of support are deeply appreciated. Helps to keep me going and really keep pushing out those vibes. And yeah, like I've said in previous streams, I have a very, very strong incentive from multiple vantage points to be to really pushing forward aggressively this year with regard to getting the content out, really helping to reinforce the importance and significance of numerology, the knowledge behind numerology and astrology, being part of that, basically being part of the movement of getting that stuff out, and also the crypto stuff, of course, as well. As you can see behind me, that's the Hex logo. There's nothing in crypto that I support more and will have loyalty towards than Hex, and both on Ethereum and PulseChain and the PulseChain ecosystem as a whole. So there's nothing in crypto that deserves more success than PulseChain. And so I think I'll just wind it up there. What else? So yeah, thank you all for dropping in, and I will be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.